I thought I should introduce you to my husband, Bob. This is Bob. He helps me out when he has time in between his other work, and I don't particularly like driving the tractor, and he does. So it's very handy when he has time to come out and bring compost, and if it's dry enough, to bring compost to the field for me. So last year these rows all had dahlias in them. As soon as I could get the dahlias dug, the tubers dug up in October, then I sprinkled down winter wheat seed and topped with a thin layer of compost. The wheat germinated great. My goal was to keep living roots in the soil. I learned that a couple years ago. I took a cohort with Jenny Love. She does a lot of teaching with regenerative farming. She has a podcast called No-Till Flowers. I just love her and all her work, and I learned so much. But one of the main things, the first things I took away, is to always have some sort of living roots in your soil. Your soil wants living roots. There's all sorts of life that live and feed off of those roots. So my goal last year, that was why I explained a couple weeks ago, I tried to get as much cover crop seeded as possible. Okay, go play, go away. Yeah, go, okay. Any little breeze makes these turn into kites, so I gotta move a few more weights here to keep this down. But I am laying two different black pieces down. This is called silage tarp, and it's like plastic, but I get all sorts of holes in it. It's what people say to put down, and I'm not convinced I love it. It does work when there's no holes, but I either have to cover up the holes with a stone, or I just bought black duct tape. I'm gonna try taping the holes, see if the tape stays on, because when you get holes, you get light in, and then what's underneath doesn't die very quickly. It also doesn't die as quickly in this time of the year when it's cooler out. This method works way more effectively when the temperatures are warmer. But this side is the called landscape fabric, and it does let water and air through, supposedly. But I find this, I'm hoping this works better. Okay, can you stop it? This is Walter. I haven't introduced him yet. He's a little bit younger than Oscar. Oscar's like the old man dog here. Walter is 2 now. Still, he's way calmer than last year, but he has lots of energy. And he's one of the reasons, and Oscar, why I have so many holes in the plastic here, because they run on them, and then if there's any kind of stem, it will just poke through. The fabric doesn't do that as much. It takes a lot to poke through this fabric, so I'm hoping maybe I'll just switch over in the next few years to more fabric. It's just tougher. Yeah, I think it will work as well. I guess this is a good test. We'll see which dies quicker, which is more effective. So it's so much more relaxing walking in the barn. I think I'm always a little bit on edge during birthing season because I never know what I'm going to find when I open the door in the morning. This is the last mom that delivered. I think she delivered 4 days later than I thought. So there was quite a few days where I was checking the barn a lot. She had 2 super cute little girls here. One decent sized girl and one tiny girl, but she'll catch up. Both are drinking well. So now I'm done having to worry about deliveries and birthing. So this is a bit of an experiment this year. I really wanted to try somewhere on my farm some living pathways. So that's what I just seeded here. I seeded white clover first, which is a perennial low-growing clover, and also oats, which is an annual. So it'll just be this year until the clover gets more established. And then it would be a pathway that I would mow this year and in the future. So in all my no-till beds, right now I put in a landscape fabric pathway, 3 feet wide. I love it. There is pros and cons to using it. But for a really healthy field, from everything I've read, living pathways are optimum. But they also come with their own problems, challenges to use. So this is just a bit of an experiment this year to see how living pathways work and if I can get them into a routine that might work for me more in the future. And then there's 3 rows that I top dressed last night with compost, and I just put landscape fabric on for the time being so that the weeds, there's no weeds that get established, because I think I'm going to use these in about 3 weeks and put zinnias in. It's just too cold to put them in yet. So, and this is row cover that I put on, really old row cover, so it's quite ripped and there's holes in it, but all I need is a cover over my seed. So not only will the birds not eat it, but it will keep the seed and the ground a little bit moist, and hopefully everything will germinate quickly. We're supposed to get rain this afternoon or this evening, so that should give this a good start. Okay, I think this is the best smelling mail delivery you can get. This is all from Richter's Herbs in Ontario. This is African blue basil, a cross between basil and something else. I love putting basil in bouquets. It does have a basil smell, so not everybody loves it, but I also love the look of the spikies here. This is chocolate mint geranium. It has like a brown vein on its leaf. I like the smell of that. And this is a Tar of Roses geranium, scented geranium. It just smells so good. There's not a lot of flowers that have a good scent anymore, so I love putting a sprig of this in my bouquets, and then it makes the whole bouquet smell so yummy. I wish you could smell this. I do love perennials because they come back every year, and I love now that I've made my rows nicer and that it's a little bit easier to weed them, but it does take time. So as I'm weeding today, I'm thinking maybe I need to stop buying so many. But I just wanted to say thank you for hanging out with me this week and hope to see you again next time.